On this episode of O'Fallon Matters, see how a group of citizens work together to create a new identity for one of O'Fallon's oldest cemeteries. Learn how the city is improving emergency notification with a new tool, and take a ride with the O'Fallon PD's award-winning Canine Unit. All this and more next on O'Fallon Matters. Welcome to this episode of O'Fallon Matters. A new chapter is being written in O'Fallon's local history in Fort Zumwalt Park. OFallonTV's Brett Figgis has this story.
It's hard for us to imagine that O'Fallon was once part of the American frontier. Before the highways and modern developments, this area was untamed land, traversed by explorers like Daniel Boone. Nicholas Krekel may be known as O'Fallon's founder and first resident, followed by familiar names like Darius Heald and Omer Dames. But before there even was an O'Fallon, Missouri, there was Jacob Zumwalt's log cabin. In 1798, Jacob and his extended family settled in what is now Fort Zumwalt Park, and their log cabin home has been an important piece of O'Fallon ever since. At times a home, a strategic fort, a stable, and a dilapidated ruin, Zumwalt's Fort is an enduring symbol of O'Fallon's history. And on Saturday, May 2nd, 2015, we were honored to hold a dedication ceremony for a rebuilt fort, standing proudly once again.
On behalf of the City of O'Fallon and the O'Fallon City Council, it is my great privilege to welcome everyone on this exciting and momentous occasion, the dedication of Zumwalt's Fort.
This project is meant to be more than the reconstruction of an old, worn-down log cabin, but a place where our children can come to learn and appreciate what our forefathers endured to raise their families and to provide a living, where they would be able to grow and prosper.
The project has had a long journey from its beginning as a gleam in the eye of Mr. Raleigh Jessup, who championed the rebuilding of this War of 1812 family fort for many years. Only a few dared to live here on what was there the leading edge of the American frontier. Jacob Zumwalt and his family were among those few. And now with this fort as an interpretive site, we can present their story.
There are tons of great stories throughout history, and Zumwalt's Fort is no exception. In 1812, the log cabin home was fortified, providing the influx of settlers with protection against Native American raids. In 1817, the Heald family purchased the land from Jacob Zumwalt for $1,000, and the Healds lived in the fort for decades. It was the site of action during the Civil War, when the Healds were arrested for conspiring with the Confederate Army, and their home was ransacked by Arnold Krekel, Nicholas's brother. In 1884, Darius Heald had the imposing brick home constructed up the hill from the fort, calling his new residence Stony Point. Known today as the Heald home, Darius Heald lived in the building until he passed away in 1904. Not long after, a tornado hit Stony Point, and the site fell into general disrepair. While the Heald home received some attention from the series of owners who followed the Healds, Zumwalt's original fort slowly decayed. By the 1950s, all that was left standing from the fortified home was the commanding central chimney, overlooking Lake Wetzel. But O'Fallon has always cherished its history, and in 1998, the O'Fallon Community Foundation was established to restore our historical sites to their former glory. Their first project, the Heald Home, was completed in 2001, and it was only natural that they would then turn their attention to a familiar log cabin sitting right next door. After years of hard work, the foundation had rebuilt this famous landmark, and we can add one new story to the fort's history. Its dedication ceremony was overseen by a reunion of Jacob Zumwalt's descendants.
I think it's real important for the next generation and the next generation and the next generation to know where they come from. It makes people appreciate what the city is now and how it's grown, and I think it's just wonderful.
Knowing that this is right in the, almost in the center of town, and they have streets and schools named after our family, that really, you know, touches your heart. It really does.
There's lots of stories came from this place, and it was a stopover for a lot of travelers that were exploring in this country. And I am very proud to be a descendant.
A project like this necessarily requires the support and involvement of the community, and O'Fallon citizens definitely stepped up to the challenge. Every step of the way, volunteers and supporters were ensuring this project's completion. Charlie Brungies donated lumber, and Jesse Francis offered his technical expertise. Local companies donated supplies and assistance, and there are just too many people involved to name everyone individually. However, one man deserves special attention. The fort's reconstruction was spearheaded by Raleigh Jessup, who unfortunately passed away before the fort could be completed, and his absence at the dedication ceremony was felt by everyone involved with the project.
Raleigh was just a genuine good old boy that had dreams for O'Fallon of what it could be, and the community involvement. And he's just a kind, gentle old man that had this dream that here was a piece of American history, and it became an obsession of his to see this rebuilt.
I'm so very grateful. This day's just a little bit bittersweet without Raleigh Jessup here. He's advocated the building of this fort beginning in the 1970s, and he is absolutely with us every step of the way in this project, and we owe it to him.
Zumwalt's Fort can be found, appropriately enough, on Jessup Drive in the heart of Fort Zumwalt Park. This site is the only War of 1812 site open to the public, and it's also the only one to have been rebuilt. Our fort boasts an incredible wealth of historical artifacts, including items dating back to Jacob Zumwalt's time. And we hope you visit the fortified log cabin the next time you're in Fort Zumwalt Park.
Now, Joe Meyer has a story about how a new sign brought a measure of peace for some of O'Fallon's forgotten residents.
On a warm day in the spring of 2015, a sign was dedicated in honor of the souls who once graced the city of O'Fallon with their smiles and kind hearts. Sage Chapel Cemetery is O'Fallon's oldest African-American cemetery. This eternal cemetery was established in 1881. Since its founding, Sage Chapel has been the resting place for some of O'Fallon's prominent African-American residents like Missy Edwards, Lucy Hughes White, and Elizabeth Hayden. Throughout decades of O'Fallon growth, Sage Chapel seemed to lose its identity. Most people who drove by the cemetery located on Veterans Memorial Parkway had no idea that it was even there. The only marker to identify Sage Chapel Cemetery was an old sign built by the Hinman and Swinger families quite a few years ago. That marker had fulfilled its purpose and a replacement was necessary.
Jim Frayne and I were talking about the historic preservation, of which I was the liaison to, and the following, and he mentioned Sage Chapel. The following day, my grandson called me and asked if I knew of a project that he could do in O'Fallon, and the next thing is it evolved into a sign for Sage Chapel to commemorate and bring this historic place forward.
After consulting with his grandpa, Jackson Pepper set out to build a new sign for Sage Chapel Cemetery so he could earn his Eagle Scout. Jackson wasn't really sure how the sign would turn out, but he knew that he had to honor those laid to rest in Sage Chapel. In fact, Jackson spent his free time with family and scouts constructing the perfect sign. And once the sign was completed, it was time for installation. The new sign weighed 1,000 pounds and required 600 pounds of concrete to hold the sign in place.
Oh, it took a lot of man hours, a lot of a lot of materials. Throughout the whole thing, I think it took about 3 or 4 weekends to do. It took a while to complete, but I think once you take a look at it, it looks great, and I'm glad how it turned out. If this sign is still standing up, which I really hope it is, I'm going to be driving past it, and I'm probably going to get teared up and just remember all the stuff that went into this project.
Finally, the day came for Sage Chapel's new sign dedication. Families whose loved ones are buried in the cemetery were on hand to rejoice in the fact that Sage Chapel Cemetery is no longer a mystery.
It's one of those things that will live throughout years and years and will be remembered always, and I think that's just one of the greatest feelings in the world, pretty much. So I want to thank everybody again for coming out and celebrating today for not only the Eagle Scout project, but for just everybody in the cemetery, everybody who's associated with it, and thank you very much.
For the living relatives of the deceased, it was a day of remembering and reflecting, but also a day of discovery.
I just came just to get information on my family's history. Like, for a while, my Aunt Phyllis, she's been telling me that we've had this cemetery where a lot of my ancestors been buried, and I've never really had the time to get out here, and I mean, this was my opportunity, so I took advantage of it.
Sage Chapel Cemetery was lost for a time, but now it's recognizable again thanks to the efforts of citizens like Jim Frayne, Phyllis Hayden, Councilman Jim Pepper, and Jackson Pepper. It's now up to future generations of O'Fallon citizens to make sure that we never again forget Sage Chapel Cemetery.
Next on O'Fallon Matters, we'll meet a few police officers who track down drugs and hunt for bombs, not for a paycheck, but for toys and affection. OFallonTV's Brett Figgis has this story.
When it comes to protecting O'Fallon citizens, our police officers rely on their training, experience, and every tool available to them to keep our community safe. When officers are tracking down a suspect or searching for narcotics, 3 officers in particular are called upon. K9 Talos, our explosives detecting specialist. K9 Odin, ready to hunt for illegal drugs. And K9 Eris, happy to clear buildings and apprehend suspects. These incredible officers play an important role in O'Fallon's police department. All 3 are considered patrol dogs, able to use their noses to recover suspects, missing persons, and evidence. Odin and Eris are also narcotics dogs, able to search buildings, vehicles, and people for illegal substances. Talos is the only K9 officer in St. Charles County qualified to sweep for bombs and other explosive devices, making him invaluable throughout the area.
We use the dogs for all different kinds of cases, robberies, missing children, burglaries. The use of the dog is just limitless. One of the dogs was used recently in a kidnapping that we had, and he was instrumental in locating part of the trail and the path that the individuals used, which helps us narrow down a search grid. They're wonderful features to have for us.
Talk to any of our K9 handlers and you'll realize these dogs provide more than just a keen nose. They're highly trained officers in their own right, and our officers feel safer knowing our K9s have their back.
I got an instant partner in my vehicle at all times. You can't beat that. I got a partner that comes home with me. He's in the car with me 24/7 when I'm on duty. So,
you know, he rides with me every day. He spends all his time with me. You know, we go home, we play together, and really it's such an asset for the police department to have that we can use him to help us out whenever we need it.
And the dogs are tremendously helpful, able to do tasks that are time-consuming or dangerous for our officers. But it's important to note that these are not vicious animals. All of O'Fallon's K9 officers are friendly, sociable dogs, even when they're on the job.
Oh, you're a sweetie. Many people see the dogs and immediately they think these are mean dogs or that they're not friendly, and that's just not true. We don't allow our dogs to do that. They have to be socialized and interact with the public. So not only is it a good feature because the dogs are a great crime-solving tool, but they also are a wonderful tool to socialize with the public. Everybody likes to see a dog. Everybody likes to pet a dog. especially a friendly dog. And then to find out, wow, he's a friendly police dog is even more beneficial.
But what about the bites? The dogs are aggressive and dangerous then, right? Well, actually they aren't, and their goal isn't to cause pain. While Keith explains, check out Odin's wagging tail. Even while engaged in a bite, the dogs are friendly and safe to be around. To them, the bite is just another part of the job.
When we look for a good bite, this is what we look for. The dog should have his mouth completely buried, not because it causes a lot of injury, but because it does just the opposite. When a dog bites correctly, he's using his entire mouth and his canine to hold and to lock on. That way, there's not a lot of ripping and tearing and pulling. It's one bite and one bite only. And that's what the dog knows, and that's perfect, just like that.
These 3 dogs truly are an incredible resource, able to do certain police tasks far better than any human could.
So one of the cases that really stands out was one night we were looking for some guns that were stolen from a house. We had a general area location, get Odin out, 20 seconds out there, he goes out and finds the gun, where it would have took 50 officers walking an open field for however long until we found him. You know, after 4 years of doing this, I'm still truly amazed at the quality and capabilities of the dogs and how they can just use their nose, and it's amazing. It's truly amazing.
It's good to know our canine officers are out there, working tirelessly to keep our neighborhoods and streets safe. In return for a little affection and play, they're hunting for narcotics and tracking down the bad guys. O'Fallon is proud to have these 3 dogs, and the canine program will continue to be an incredible tool for our officers.
It's time for a break. When we come back, we'll find out how to maximize your summer fun at O'Fallon's Heritage and Freedom Fest. Also, we'll discover what recycling is doing for our community. Stay with us. You're watching O'Fallon Matters.
Celebrate America's birthday at O'Fallon, Missouri's Heritage and Freedom Fest on July 2nd through 4th. Country music stars Gloriana and Locash get the party started on July 3rd. Smash Mouth, Code the Wet Sprocket, with special guest Time, rock the festival on the 4th. Don't miss the thrills and excitement of the Midway and the Fireworks Spectacular. The main stage and fireworks are presented by One Main Financial. You'll love the food, freedom, fun, and fireworks at O'Fallon's Heritage and Freedom Fest.
Welcome back to O'Fallon Matters. The city has a new free resident notification tool. Here's how you can sign up for Code Red.
The City of O'Fallon recently launched a new notification system designed to notify residents of emergencies and important information such as road closures, major traffic issues, and more. The city has contracted with Emergency Communications Network to license its Code Red high-speed notification solution. The system provides city officials with the ability to quickly deliver messages targeted to areas as well as the entire city.
The City of O'Fallon has a lot of good ways to reach out to residents currently, with the e-newsletter, social media, and our city newsletter that's mailed to residents. However, we didn't have a more immediate way to get a hold of people when there was an emergency. The new Code Red emergency notification system lets us send a text message, email, or phone call instantly based on a resident's location.
There are several different emergency situations that Code Red covers.
Well, immediately we have emergency notifications, which may include water main breaks, gas line leaks, or some type of police incident in your neighborhood will be covered by the system. We can also send out weather alerts. When you register for the system, you choose what type of alerts you want to follow, And in the future, as we work with other city departments, we'll determine what other types of alerts may be needed.
City Hall encourages residents to get online immediately and make sure their information is included and up to date so they can receive the messages. If your phone number is not in the database, you will not be called. But there's no need to wait. You can go online today and make sure your information is correct.
If you presently get utilities through the City of O'Fallon, your phone number is already part of the system. However, you may need to go online and verify that we have the correct information. To do that, go to the city's homepage, www.o'fallon.mo.us, and on the front page you'll see a graphic for Code Red. Click the link and it'll take you to a page where you can confirm your phone number, what types of alerts you'd like to receive, and if you would also like to add text messages or email.
Those without internet access can call O'Fallon Citizens First Center at 636-379-5553, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to supply their information over the phone. Additional phone numbers can be entered as well. For more information on O'Fallon's emergency notification system, you can go to www.o'fallon.mo.us.
Here's everything you need to know about O'Fallon's 2015 Heritage and Freedom Fest. O'Fallon has always embraced our city's tradition and history, and the Heritage and Freedom Fest has become a key part of that legacy. For a community that loves to come together, this three-day celebration showcases the most important aspects of our city: family, community, and a great time. Once again, O'Fallon's Heritage and Freedom Fest will be held at the Ozzie Smith Sports Complex on July 2nd, July 3rd, and July 4th. And the best part of O'Fallon's Heritage and Freedom Fest is admission and parking are free. And this year's national acts are sure to dazzle area festival goers. Get ready, because this year's concert lineup is guaranteed to keep your feet moving all night long. Getting the party started on July 3rd is Low Cash, who are known for their barrier-breaking blend of rock and country. You'll have no trouble enjoying our incredible July 3rd headliner as Gloriana takes the stage, bringing all the vocal trio's hits to O'Fallon. Our high-octane main stage entertainment begins again on the 4th with Toad the Wet Sprocket and their straight-up rock and roll fueled performance. Then, with 6 top 10 singles and over 4 million records sold, Tonic will show concertgoers why they're a dynamic musical powerhouse. Our final act for the 2015 Heritage and Freedom Fest will be an all-star performance you can't help but rock along with. Headliner Smash Mouth closes out the July 4th performances with one of the most energetic shows we've ever had. Gloriana and Low Cash on July 3rd, Smash Mouth, Tonic, and Toad the Wet Sprocket on the 4th. 2 days of amazing music, 5 unforgettable performances, all free at O'Fallon's Heritage and Freedom Fest. On July 4th, we get the party started with the largest and most colorful parade in the area. Our parade draws a crowd of thousands proudly dressed in red, white, and blue, and cheering for the patriotic parade entries vying for cash prizes and trophies. Celebrate National Parks and Monuments is the theme for O'Fallon's 2015 Heritage and Freedom Fest Parade. The City of O'Fallon is setting the stage for an Independence Day celebration of American music, patriotism, and fun when the annual parade gets underway at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, July 4th in downtown O'Fallon. The parade route starts at the corner of Main and 3rd Streets, continuing north on Main Street to Tom Ginnever Avenue, where it turns east, ending at T.R. Hughes Boulevard near the entrance to the festival grounds. Spectators are encouraged to arrive early to avoid traffic closures and find a spot along the route. What 4th of July celebration would be complete without an amazing fireworks display? After the last chord is strummed by the musical act each night, attendees will be treated to one of the biggest fireworks shows in the country. Named for O'Fallon's inspirational Heritage and Freedom Fest coordinator, Jenna Dusty Milkey, there's no better way to end each night at the Heritage and Freedom Fest. This spectacular show takes off at 10:15 p.m. on July 3rd and 9:30 p.m. on July 4th. The Heritage and Freedom Fest sideshows are free, and this year's lineup is set to be the best yet. The Axe Women Loggers of Maine production is a self-contained turnkey event unlike any other lumberjack shows across the country. From the apparel of the Axe Women to the sets of the production, no detail has been spared in updating the logger show for the 21st century. The show is the centerpiece of the touring division of the Pro Timber Sports Company based in Bar Harbor, Maine. Remember to visit O'Fallon's Heritage and Freedom Fest website for showtimes. Chris Clark takes stunt cycling to another level. Chris has competed around the world and entertained fans at events like the Gravity Games, the Warped Tour, and even the Olympic Games. Each 20-minute show is a breathtaking display of balance and agility as Chris maneuvers his bike and body over built ramps and obstacles, displaying the skills he has acquired in his years of national and international competition. At the forefront of the festival each day is the Carnival in Midway. With more than 13 rides, there's something for everyone. Test your skills at fun and challenging games on the Midway, or sample the delicious festival food. The Carnival and Midway are produced by the Lowry Carnival Company, a fourth-generation family-owned show that specializes in family entertainment. Yes, there is a nominal fee for rides. Tickets must be purchased on-site at ticket booths, or you may also save time and money by purchasing Carnival tickets in advance at the O'Fallon Parks and Recreation Office or the Renaud Spirit Center. The Carnival in Midway is filled with fun rides and games, but we've got an area made especially for our younger fairgoers. The Kids Zone is always a huge draw, as families can enjoy hours of free entertainment. Kids can burn off a little energy by taking a bounce on our giant inflatables, and then they can head over to our crafts tent to exercise their creativity. And with face painting, more crafts, games, and even live shows, there's no end to the fun. You won't want to miss out on the Heritage and Freedom Fest Family Night. Family Night takes place on July 2nd from 5 to 10 p.m. and features carnival rides at discounted prices, a colorful Midway, and carnival vendors with food and beverages. Don't forget to grab an all-you-can-ride wristband that can be purchased on-site. The wristband is only valid for July 2nd for carnival rides. Food trucks will also be on the festival grounds throughout the evening for snacking. Getting to O'Fallon's Heritage and Freedom Fest has never been easier. Free parking is available at Fort Zumwalt North and Christian High Schools off Tom Ginnever Avenue. On July 3rd and 4th only, air-conditioned buses will shuttle patrons to a drop-off point near the festival entrance. Want a prime parking spot? Available on July 3rd and 4th only. Park at the T.R. Hughes Ballpark West Side parking lot and enjoy the festivities without the hassle. The cost is $10 on a first-come, first-served basis. Disabled patrons are encouraged to take advantage of free parking at T.R. Hughes Ballpark. A handicap license plate or tag must be displayed for admission. Family, community, and a good time. That's exactly what the Heritage and Freedom Fest is all about. This year's Heritage and Freedom Fest will be bigger and better than ever. Don't forget to join us for the metro area's best 4th of July party, O'Fallon's Heritage and Freedom Fest. We all know that recycling is good for the environment, but have you ever been curious about its other benefits? OFallonTV's Brett Fick is here to show us how recycling affects our community.
If you're like most people, you probably don't think much about what happens to your garbage after you throw it away. Garbage truck picks it up and then it's gone for good, right? Well, garbage is actually a big problem in America, and as more waste finds its way into our landfills, it's only going to continue to get bigger. Trash products that aren't biodegradable or slow to decompose can remain in landfill sites for centuries, emitting gases or leaching into groundwater. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, the average American produces 4.4 pounds of garbage a day, which works out to be about 1,600 pounds a year. With the garbage produced in the United States alone, you could form a line of filled-up garbage trucks that stretches from O'Fallon, Missouri, straight up to the moon. If we want to keep this waste out of the landfill, what can we do? You probably already know the answer, and it's something you and your neighbors are already doing. It's recycling, and the material our Environmental Services Department picks up from O'Fallon homes is already making a huge difference.
The impact really is with 25,000 homes in O'Fallon, it's a huge impact. That means 25,000 homes material are not going to go into the landfill, which causes all kind of problems at the landfills right now. We take out a lot of material from with our recycling. We do about 7,000 tons every year, and that's how it helps our community.
You may be wondering why we're talking about recycling on O'Fallon Matters if our community is already recycling 7,000 tons of material a year. That's a tremendous amount of recycled waste, and it makes O'Fallon a leader in recycling. But the EPA estimates that as much as 50% of goods still reaching our landfills are actually recyclable. And prioritizing recycling helps our O'Fallon community in a number of ways. Beyond reducing our landfill problem, it also reduces our energy consumption. It creates jobs and saves money for our city. But one of the biggest reasons to recycle is the economic impact it can have. Recycled items use substantially less energy than manufacturing products from virgin sources. That means cheaper goods, like plastic soda bottles or fleece jackets like the one I'm wearing today. If you're recycling, you're making O'Fallon a better place to live for everyone in our community.
Residents should feel really good about what they do here and should be proud of what they do here, because we're probably #1 in the area on the amount of recycled material that comes out of our trash. And by doing that, they protect the environment with all those problems with the landfills, but they also keep their cost down lower than anyone else in the area.
Learn more about recycling on O'Fallon's website at www.o'fallon.mo.us and make sure you sign up for our easy, convenient recycling service. Remember, every step that we take, however small, is one more towards helping and supporting the environment in which we live. Getting everyone involved, from kids to adults, can help produce a better environment for many generations to come.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have a good story idea, let us know. You can email us at OFallonTV@o'fallon.mo.us. Please remember, give back to your community, because O'Fallon matters to all of us.